After a strong finish last year, the Lakers had high expectations coming into this season. They had finally given up on the Russell Westbrook experiment and were recommitting to the formula that won them the 2020 championship. That formula being surround LeBron and AD with depth. It was nice to see LA going back to a system that worked, so as a result, many people penciled them in as a top seed for the 2024 season. To the surprise of most, the Lakers did not come out of the gate strong. Due to injuries, frequent lineup changes, and overall inconsistencies, LA was just 24-25 at the end of January. However, on February 1st, just a week before the trade deadline, everything changed. That night, the Lakers went into Boston without LeBron or AD and upset the Celtics. It was a huge confidence boost for the role players, and since then the team has been clicking. LA has won 17 of their last 25 games, and just like last season, they're getting hot at the right time. In today's video, I'm going to highlight what's changed for the Lakers and explain why they need to be taken seriously in the playoffs.
360. The old man did a 360. Davis elevating and detonating.
So I'm going to pick him to win the West, and I'm going to pick him to beat the Celtics, Lakers, Celtics for the whole thing.
Before we get into it, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe. I'm trying to hit 1,500 subscribers by the end of the season, and your support goes a long way. With all of that being said, let's get into the video. After last season's trade deadline, the Lakers developed a strong defensive identity. In the final 23 games of the year, LA went 16-7, and they had the fourth best defense during that span. With them finding so much success that way, it made sense to reestablish a defensive identity this season. However, the Lakers ended up putting too much of an emphasis on defense. While guys like Taurean Prince and Cam Reddish helped LA win the in-season tournament, in the long run they didn't provide enough offensively to remain in the starting lineup. As good as LeBron is at 39, he shouldn't be asked to be the sole playmaker on the court at this stage of his career. Unfortunately, the Lakers struggled to find balanced lineups early in the season, and Darvin Ham deserves blame for that. When Austin Reeves had a slow start to the season, he was quickly moved to the second unit. Someone else that had an inconsistent role was Rui Hachimura, who barely got off the bench in some games. Then in December, D'Lo was going back and forth between starting and coming off the bench, which resulted in his worst month of the season. We all know that LeBron-led teams are put under a microscope and his teammates are always brought up in trade rumors. When you combine this with a coach that's not giving his players consistent roles, that can affect one's psyche. However, in January, Russell and Reeves became consistent starters once again, and this helped Russell in particular. D'Lo went from having an awful month of December to playing like an all-star in January. Despite this, the Lakers went 7-8 that month. Their overall offense was still bad, so in February they made another change to the starting lineup. On February 3rd, Rui Hachimura became a starter, and he's been a huge help for the team. Since that date, he's averaged 15 points on incredible efficiency, and he's been able to step up when the Lakers needed it. On the second night of a back-to-back in Utah, Rui had 36 points in a win, and he recently dropped 32 in a back-to-back in Memphis. The Jazz and Grizzlies are bad teams, but those back-to-backs can be trap games. Obviously, Rui isn't the main reason they've been winning lately, but with him having a larger role, the Lakers are making the most of another guy that can score and provide spacing. Last year, LA was one of the worst three-point shooting teams during the regular season and the playoffs, which is why they couldn't produce at an elite level on offense. While they brought back many players from last year's team, they've greatly improved their three-point shooting. Hachimura's three-point percentage has improved by over 10%, LeBron's has increased by 8%, and D'Lo is shooting a career-best 42% from three. By playing their best shooters more often, the Lakers have seen their offensive ratings skyrocket over the past 2 months. While their three-point shooting is great, what I like most about their offense is how evenly distributed their scoring is. As I touched on, LA ran lineups earlier in the season that put a heavy burden on LeBron's shoulders. Now that their top 5 minute getters are D'Lo, Reeves, LeBron, Rui, and AD, LeBron has teammates that can not only create their own shot, but set them up for easy buckets as well. Their scoring distribution is well balanced, and that's exactly what they need to do in order to make a deep playoff run. While their offense and shooting is better than it was last year, people have concerns about their defense. Over the past 2 months, the Lakers have been a below-average defensive team, and you can't be bad on defense and expect to find playoff success. Unfortunately for LA, Jared Vanderbilt has missed lots of time with injury, and he's their best defender outside of Anthony Davis. The Lakers are one of the worst teams at defending the fast break, and without Vanderbilt, they're very reliant on AD to anchor their half-court defense. However, he's targeting a return in early April, and I see him making a big difference. Vanderbilt is a versatile wing defender, and he gives the Lakers even more size. According to Cleaning the Glass, Vanderbilt was a part of LA's most effective lineup last season, and this year the team has an elite defense and overall net rating when he's on the court. He and Anthony Davis are a tremendous defensive pairing, and their defensive abilities will take some pressure off their teammates. With Vanderbilt in the fold, LeBron and D'Lo won't have to expend as much energy on that end, and his presence will help Austin Reeves as well. Reeves plays very hard on defense, and to me that's a very underappreciated part of his game. He's someone I trust to compete on that end, and with Vanderbilt and AD on the floor, you simply need to surround them with guys that give effort. I'm not sure if Vanderbilt will start once he returns, but regardless, he's going to be a key rotation player who helps address LA's biggest weakness. If the Lakers can maintain their current play on offense and Vanderbilt can elevate them to a respectable defense, history would suggest that this could lead to a deep playoff run. Last season, the Nuggets won the title without being an elite defensive team. During the regular season, they had the 15th ranked defense, and while they had the 4th best defense during the playoffs, they didn't exactly match up with offensive juggernauts on their title run. While that should provide optimism for Lakers fans, the team needs to lock up a playoff spot first. As of now, LA sits in 9th place, just 2 games behind Phoenix for 7th, and 1.5 games behind Sacramento for 8th. It might be hard to catch the Suns at this point, but I do think they could catch the Kings. Because Sacramento swept the season series against LA, they won the tiebreaker between the two teams. This means that the Lakers will have to finish the season with more wins if they want to pass the Kings. When you look at the remaining strength of schedule for both teams though, this seems very realistic. According to Tankathon, the Kings have the 5th toughest remaining schedule, meanwhile the Lakers have the 6th easiest. On top of that, Sacramento just lost Herter for the rest of the season due to a shoulder injury, and Malik Monk is expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL sprain. If the Lakers were to catch them, that would be huge for their playoff chances. In all likelihood, they'd match up with the Suns in the play-in game, but even if they lost, they'd have home court advantage against the winner of the 9 vs 10 seeds. If they do end up making the postseason, I have confidence that the Lakers could win a series against any team out west, except for one. Dating back to last year's postseason, the Nuggets have beaten LA 7 straight times. Now it is worth mentioning that 6 of these 7 games were tightly contested heading into the 4th, so it's not like Denver has blown them out each time. However, it is concerning for LA that in 6 close games, they weren't able to pull out one of them. I wouldn't give them a 0% chance in a series against Denver, but out of all the teams in the West, that's clearly their worst matchup. Luckily for the Lakers, they could possibly avoid a series against the Nuggets. Denver is currently in a tight 3-way race for the 1 seed, and LA could finish in 7th or 8th. Hypothetically, if the Lakers finished in 8th and the Nuggets finished in 2nd or 3rd, they wouldn't have to match up until the conference finals. With the West being as deep as it is, Denver could be upset in the 1st or 2nd round. If that happened, the Lakers could make a finals run without having to get the monkey off their back that is the Denver Nuggets. Besides Denver, none of these playoff teams have the experience that LA has. Sure, this roster hasn't won a title together, but many of their players were a part of their conference finals run last year, and LeBron and AD are one of the few duos in the league that have won a title together. Teams like OKC, Minnesota, and New Orleans are great, but they're inexperienced. Then you have the Clippers, Mavs, Suns, and Kings that have individual players with playoff experience, but they haven't gone on playoff runs as a unit. The Lakers have that advantage over most teams, and when you combine that with their strong play as of late, and their potential to improve once Vanderbilt returns, they've become a team that needs to be taken seriously come playoff time. Anyways, that's going to be all for today's video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. With all that being said, I'm out, and I'll see you in the next video.